I spent a good portion of yesterday on the couch with my daughter watching movies and eating cookies.
Welcome to the battlefield, to the boardroom. You are here with Philip Folsom and myself, Col Garth, and we are talking to you today about carrots and sticks. And some of it is, in Philip's words, like the intrinsic motivation of all the things that we're doing. And here, I'm actually going to kick off. I don't have two tips today. I want to tell a story about a very common experience for our service members. And it's true of traveling salespeople, and it's true of business people who step off into a new realm to start something new, but have to leave where they are to go do it. So when we deploy, right, we do a ton of workups. We do a ton of training. We get everybody ready, and we are solely focused on the unknown. So there is more stuff to do to prepare than you could possibly do. You know, are you going to be in a heavy kinetic fight? Are you going to be in the drudgery of day in, day out life? Are you going to be, you know, in a tent? Are you going to be sleeping out of your truck? Or will you have a whole, apartment? Like, all these things are unknowns because you haven't gone yet. And every deployment is a little bit different. So when you leave, there's that energy and that anticipation and that preparation of, I have things to do and I have a purpose. And then we get there, and most of my, experience on deployments at any rate has been months of absolute tedious boredom, followed by seconds of just absolute sheer terror, followed by months of boredom again, right? And I mean, you watch the movies and it's one, kinetic firefight to the next kinetic firefight, but no one can maintain that pace. So you have to find time in a unit's schedule to make sure that you get downtime. And when you don't, go read Blackhearts. You can see about the absolute chaotic, like catastrophic breakdown of humanity when you push too hard and you drive too much. It's a good book. So what I find on these deployments a lot is, as we get out there into the wild world, I feel very disconnected from everything that was important to me. I know why I went. I love wearing the uniform. I love being there. And I know a lot of vets probably can relate. But I have a big family, and I have a good friend network, and I am a connector by nature, like and share, right? And because of that, when I get into that environment where none of those skill sets are needed or can actually be used, like when you're out in a tent or in a truck, like there's no text messaging, I don't have a satellite phone, like I lost that connection to family. And every time I've done that deployment, I get to this space where I start to feel, isolated, right, on an island. And you're surrounded by the other Marines, you're surrounded by your mission, but the why gets fuzzy the longer I go on deployment. And we do things to make up for it, right? Like we have that conversation about what's the first meal you're going to eat when you get back. We talk about home with our friends. We have very, very deep conversations. And that's how you kind of hold on. You do that countdown clock. You talk about 23 and a wake up or whatever it is to get you out of the place. So I thought today we could talk a little bit about that. Like, why are we so disconnected at times because of the work? And then once we're doing the work and we're removed from the human side, we feel this isolation. And once you feel the isolation, what do you do? That's a long intro, but I guess my story went first. Sorry. So, and then COVID's doing it to us. The pandemic's doing it to us. We are all isolated in a way we're not really used to. So what do we do?
I recently read a quote by one of my favorite authors, Carlos Castanedas. He's another anthropologist, UCLA. He wrote Journey to Ixtlan and Tales of Power, and brilliant writer. And he said, it occurs to me more and more that the human condition is a giant frozen wave of loneliness being held up by the power of metaphor, which, I mean, it's a dreamlike kind of analogy. It's poetry, it's symbolism. And I think the metaphor is the larger, almost artificial sense of meaning that we create. We create systems that provide this artificial structure that keeps us going in the face of the grinding life And so, use the analogy of shaping your environment like a farmer. That's an incredibly apt analogy, because that is our life. It's not just the cultural life of your organization and your work team. It really is the totality of our life. And how are we shaping that environment? That's that metaphoric infrastructure that provides meaning. And I think in today's society, it's so easy to get immediate gratification that it's very hard to create a life without relying on carrots and sticks, because the carrots are strewn all over in front of us. You just pick up your phone filled with carrots, and so you start eating carrots, and then eventually you don't respond to those. That carrot threshold is higher because you're immune to those carrots,
right?
And pretty soon the sticks don't work, right? The shame, because pretty soon we start isolating, so the sticks can't even get to you. And now, where is the motivation? Where is the drive to continue to push, whether it be deployment or mission or continuing your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah.
Right. That's the game. What is the metaphor, the framework, the roadmap, whatever your worldview, whatever you want to call that? It needs to be created for some sort of long-term intrinsic motivation that's built off of some form of service or purpose or meaning.
Right.
Tricky.
Well, we have an expression in the military. We say false motivation leads to real motivation, right? And the whole idea is that if you have false moto, you fake it till you make it kind of deal. And I think that's a lot of the happy clappy, do you want to be a multimillionaire? You want 5 million? How about 10 million? And we encourage these entrepreneurs to think about the dollar amount in their bank account. And you get pumped up and it's motivating, but man, there is no long-term on that. None.
Yep.
And you burn because you're either constantly failing to meet that metric, in the bank account, or, you start to realize, like, no matter how much more you make, you can drain it, but it's not a real thing. So what do you use then? What's your intrinsic, what's your jam? What's one? We'll give one each.
Yeah. Boy, my one is going to be, my little equation for finding purpose is where passion serves people. That's kind of my slick little saying, where passion serves people equals purpose. And so passion is the big one, right? What is that thing? What is the passion that is intrinsically motivating, where I get into flow state, where it feels good, right? So it's not external validation, it's internal, intrinsic flow state place where time goes quickly. And you and I both love to present. You and I both love program design. You and I, we love the creative, expressive process of creating programs that serve people. That's our flow state. And I think for me, when I have been either disconnected or been wounded by some sort of rejection or failure or some piece about where my passion hasn't worked for me, then for me, I have to go through that kind of hero's journey process of grieving, like where my failures are, so that I can again return back to that and passion. And then I'm going to shut up and I'm going long. Passion is not just a heightened emotion, like, oh, I'm excited. That's not passion. Means I'm willing to suffer the passion of the Christ. That means I'm willing and almost eager to wake up and embrace that suck and do that grind, because I find it fulfilling in some capacity. And a lot of the things that I do, I'm doing for carrots, social media, external validation,
right.
And me creating a firewall of just at least acknowledging, hey, I am responding or reacting to the carrot farmer over here. That there is a debris and an erosion of my legitimate passion every time I'm choosing to chase the carrots. It is twisting my compass.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like you look down and you're watching the click count or you're watching the whatever, and you spend no time, doing things that actually bring value. Um, I made a conscious choice yesterday. My wife had to leave town for a day. And at the end of the day, I tend to let the work hour drift. And yesterday I turned everything off, put on some shoes, made the kids put on shoes, went outside, and we just walked about a mile, like, just around the neighborhood. Um, but I started out in a foul mood. And why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing it to them? But it was great. And it was that conscious recognition to not chase the clicks, but to chase sort of this connection. And, if I was being honest, the kids were connecting in a memory, like, I could see him 20 years from now being like, yeah, my dad walked with me all the time as a kid. Like we did it once, I mean, I do it more than once, but we did it once. And it was good. It took me a while to accept it. So my one tip, I guess, is I meander, because you're right. This is a deep topic. It's hard to talk about. But my one tip would be go talk about it. Set up a coffee with your buddies, set up a poker night, set up a workout, set up an accountability group, there are groups, like we both have programs that bring people together. You have your men's group. I have the Forge group. Like these are good things. But you can also do it on your own. And it doesn't matter. You talk a lot about the Carl Jungian, the archetypes, and we're innovators in our group. Got it. But you don't have to make the group. Find someone who's an innovator in your friend circle and have them make the group. Just inspire them with the idea. They'll make the group and then you join it. Because I think when you have these weird, long, hard conversations, even as we talk, I start thinking of things that I actually value that are not carrots, that are not shiny gold coins in a video game. They're things that actually matter to me. But it takes this conversation. And even if I don't express them aloud, they're in my head. And I think discovering that or rediscovering that is critical because it'll shape the whole day. It'll shape the week. And I don't know if that's where you were getting at, but.
No, I concur. The two things you just said that are probably closer to the core of this topic are, you need to process with other people. You can't just sit in your little loopy brain and try to escape that cycle. None of us work like that. Even the great thinkers, we always have to reflect in order to process and integrate. So I don't know why we missed that one for some reason in our pre-conversation.
Yeah, unprocessed. What is it? An unprocessed thing is an unintegrated one. What's your?
Oh gosh, I haven't said that in a long time.
It's a good quote.
I know.
An unprocessed event or
is an unintegrated
one, which means in the military, do the after action. And we hate it. We hate breaking down our performance, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that stuff. We hate capturing it because you got to write it down. And then you got to read it so that you can save yourself the stumbling and the pitfalls in the future when you're the next person into that shoot. But it is so powerful because you can integrate those experiences and then not live them.
So for everybody watching, thank you for going through this process with us because we feel better today.
Yeah, right. Now we'll feel even better if you like and share. Yeah.
Like and share. Gold coins and carrots.
Battlefield to the boardroom. Today we're talking about carrots and sticks. And I think the key takeaway is the gold coins are a lie. Collect them, enjoy them. But that's not the truth of what's important in your life.
Yep.
What is important in your life is where your passion lies or your big why or your commander's intent, like the values, the things that matter to you. So chase those.